how are you? So
Good,
good to
good.
see you.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining me, mother.
Yes, daughter.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the mother of all mothers.
That's too big of an announcement. So how have you
But
been?
good, good, trying to survive each day at a time because crazy times, really. Like, yeah, crazy times. Feeling a little bit like I think I'm missing out something outside, but it
But
is what it is.
you are very fortunate because you live in a very beautiful apartment and surrounded by
Oh, thank you.
beautiful teeth, pula.
Nature.
Trees, nature. Yes,
True.
nature.
Nature.
Yes,
Yeah, I am
yes,
actually very lucky. I have to count my blessings. So every day when I get up, I go like, you know what? I have to be bloody grateful. Not many people get my view.
yes.
So
Correct, correct. I know it takes a
God
lot of
is good.
practice, but that's what life is about. Is always making sure you practice and get better every single day.
That
Yeah.
is true. That is correct. So Mother's Day is tomorrow. What are your plans?
I normally don't have big celebrations in my entire life for any events.
Not
I
even Mother's Day.
No, I think Mother's Day is for the children to celebrate the mothers. I think Mother's Day is supposed for children to be grateful for the suffering of the mothers, or Father's Day for the fathers. I don't believe that you as a mother should be celebrating. I think if your kids out of the house, then you should celebrate. So that's Mother's Day.
Yes, my kids are not home. You know what? Screw them. But
Right.
I think all mothers wishes that, but then when we are gone, they want us back. Or maybe it's
Um,
not you.
Not me, not me. I think I truly no. Honestly, I truly believe that Khalil Gibran has a great quote, and I truly believe that he says that children comes through us. I'm summarizing it. They don't belong
Yeah,
to us, because they have their own life. They have their own path. I think as parents, we are supposed to help them to be on their way. We are not supposed to hold on to them. I mean, we worry about them, of course, but if we have raised them with moral values and whatever values that is instilled in them, all you can do is hope and pray that it's gonna creep up and help them along the way. So no, I don't. I don't.
definitely.
I don't miss. I miss my children, but I don't miss. I don't miss them in my house. Because I've been a single parent for almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So 20 years on my own, financially, emotionally, I've raised my two girls who are now 26 and 24. So it's time for them to go and fend for themselves, and that's what we're parents supposed to do.
That's amazing. I mean, the kind of parenting that many parents can learn from you is giving your child the independence that they need in order for them to live beyond your years, right?
Right,
Something that I truly believe in if I have kids, because I don't have kids now. It's
right,
okay.
right. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, tell us more about, being a single parent. What are your struggles? What kind of, tough obstacle that you face? Tell us more about, your journey
How
being
much
a
time do
single
you
parent.
have?
45 minutes. We can summarize those.
Well, I think that the struggles that came was I was a homemaker, and I was married for 14 years, and I had a beautiful marriage for the last 12 years. And the last 2 years was a bit rocky because my ex-husband, I call him late husband. A lot of people say that I'm a bit cruel, but it's not true because the man that I married is no longer there. He does not exist. So to me, I've buried the man that I married. So for me, the last 2 years was a bit of struggle because he had mental illness, and I'm not talking about depression. Like I'm not talking about, oh my God, I'm having such a bad day today. I'm having depression. No, I'm talking about manic depression, and I'm talking about schizophrenia. So it developed, yeah. So it developed for the last 2 years, and he was a beautiful man, very talented, and then he went through a major depression, and I had to deal with two girls who were probably 3 and 5 at that time, and he just lost it. I was left with a whole bunch of debt, which amounted to more than $200,000, and I was working part time at that moment, which is $15 an hour for 3 hours, 3 times a week. So I was left with that debt, and including the kids' school. And so the struggle was just to, I mean, I'm sure the first 2 years, it was hell for me. It was terrible. I won't say that, oh my God, I got through it. I'm sure I was angry, I was frustrated, I was crying. But for me, there were a lot of struggles, sleepless nights. I would not, when he was living with me before I kicked him out, he was watching me every night when I sleep, so I couldn't sleep. So I was a personal trainer before, and he would watch me over my bed. And the next morning, if you see me as a client, I would be like, hey, hi, how you doing? You know, nobody knew. Even my best friend didn't know, my family didn't know. My sentiment is I wanted to get married, so it should be my problem. This is my problem. I'm going to solve it. Besides, if I tell my family what they're going to say, oh, poor you, what can we do? That's it. You know, you just have sympathy. But I am a very responsible person, and I learned throughout the years to be responsible. And to get through it is just to, the mantra that I've always had myself is to get up, dress up, and show up. So I worked my ass off from 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning till 9 p.m. I was lucky enough to have a helper that helped me raise my kids. So the struggles were real, but I didn't wallow in it. I also have this number 3 in my life, which is everything that I do has to be 3. I would cry for 3 days and then go like, okay, that's it, enough, get up, you know, and go. Because problems will always be there. I never look at just problems. I always try to find solutions. And I mean, every day, like, you know, even now we are having struggles. So it's just being present and just do what you're supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, if one partner is not taking the responsibility, it's up to the other person. You can play the victim game, you can play the blame game. The end of the day, those two children did not ask to be born. They are your responsibility. So a lot of women that I know always blame, oh, my husband doesn't do this and my husband doesn't do that. Who cares? Get up off your ass and go to work. Then you know the value of humanity and the value of money. Because men also have fears. They have fears about, you know, taking care of you and the family. So you cannot just look at yourself. I have a problem with women that's sitting on the fence, right? I do have a problem. I'm sorry, you know. It's either you, right? So it's either you take the side. Do you want to be just a housewife and serve? And I'm sure you can do a better job than me. You know, I was a housewife and I served. Like, my husband will come home at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would get up and cook because I was in love with him and he was a good man, right? But you cannot want to be independent and want to be served also at the same time. Pick a fence, okay? I mean, that doesn't mean that you're independent, you lose your humanity also, you know, your compassion for people. So problems, yes, I faced them. I took any job and every job that I could. I would do aqua aerobics, even though I'm afraid of water, I would do it. If there's a project that, you know, like cheerleading, and we were the first, Diane Hassam and I were the first to bring cheerleading in Singapore. So the government, I can't remember who, it was the government of the school said, can you bring cheerleading? I said, of course I can, you know, no clue.
I'm Laila White.
Yes, I can do anything. Yeah, so all you do, right. How would you know you cannot do something without you even trying? You at least have to try. And with failure,
you know
correct.
that you tried.
Right, but you also can try again. So that's the beauty of failing. So I did every single job, and problems, people ask me, you know, how is it difficult? Was it difficult? Of course it's difficult, because my objective is to put food on the table and still provide my kids with education. For me, education, especially for women, or especially for girls, is crucial. So I made a promise to myself that I would, no matter what, I would put my children through universities. And I finally did. So for me, it's there's always problems, and I face, you know, my peers in the fitness industry. I get comments like, "Oh, of course, the way you look, of course, you get all the job," you know. But they don't understand. I am the only journalist, not journalist. I'm the only writer that whenever the newspaper asks me, by the end of the day, I will produce. I will always send in And even the journalist was saying, how come, you're the only one that gives us the deadline before the deadline. The rest of the people take weeks, right? Because I was
Yeah.
hungry and I have self-pride. And
Yeah.
people call me a high achiever. I think that whatever you want to do, you need to do 100%. Just don't do it.
Yeah. 100% on that. I mean, like a lot of people always give excuses in life, which sometimes also tick me off. Especially like, women, not only like mothers, but just generally as women, we tend to give a lot of excuses. Oh, this is just how society is. This is how my culture is. But if you were to be a bit of a risk taker and just step one foot out of your comfort zone, I think you can go a very long way as a gender.
Of
You're right.
course, of course.
So okay, well, let's go back to being a single parent now.
Yes, yes.
So during the course of you, raising your children, working from, as you said, 6 a.m. all the way till 9 p.m., how do you cope raising with your children? Like, was there any help? How did you discipline them, or how did you, of course they're now, sorry, I met them and they're now grown up to be a very fine, beautiful woman, very gracious, sophisticated as well. The way they talk is very articulate. So I'm very impressed. So I want to know your secret. I'm pretty sure a lot of single parent out there wants to know your secret as well.
Well, well, I think that uh, so I didn't have much time. As a single parent, my objective is to make money. So I
Yeah.
remember when between the two girls, Xaviera is the eldest, always follows the rule, right?
Yeah.
They always, because you also, when you have your first child, you are afraid and you want to do everything right. You read every book, but with the second one, you're like, oh, okay, I'm so tired, right? But the right, or maybe the three, the fourth. My mother has 9 kids, so by the end of the road, we don't care about our brother. But for me was I was a no nonsense parent. I work every time I go to work is I'm being paid. So there was a time when the school teacher called me, and Bianca is very gifted like her father. She doesn't have to study. She's very smart. But people that are smart, they lose interest very fast because they think they know it all. So the teacher called me up and I had to cancel a client and go and see her, see the teacher. And the teacher, I sat down with the teacher and she was in the office. And teacher says, okay, Bianca's always daydreaming, she's not studying, And then I just turned around to her and I said, don't you ever pull me out of my work. This is money taken away to put food on the table. I give you permission to discipline her, even if you have to cane her. So Bianca looked at me like this.
Your Asian parent style.
No, but I think what you gotta choose. There's a lot of parents that now is a new age parents. Okay, so before I get to the new age parents, I wanted to say about my own parenting, my parents. The way I see my parents raise me, there are many things that I didn't like. And there are many things that I like. The way I took it where is, if the things that I don't like, I have to do better. And if the things that they do that I like, I have to do better too. I mean, looking at my parents, where are they going to learn from? They're going to learn from their parents. Their parents learn from their other parents. The only change that you can make is when you stand still and you take the initiative to change. So I wanted my children, and my parents have a lot of values, to know where you come from, work ethics. So I instill that. So for me, like now parenting has become so flimsy that a lot of parents want to be their children's friends. So I think there's a misunderstanding about these friends. They have their own damn friends. They don't need you to be their friends. Why would they want to hang out with you old people anyways? My children hate it when I took them sitting around with, people of my age, because I want them to learn, how the manners, and then you don't be antisocial. You know how to socialize also. You can be friendly towards your children. Just like being in a company, you need a leader. So how can you be wishy-washy and not be consistent, want to enforce values in your children? So So for me, the way I raise my kids is with an iron fist. I am a no nonsense. I have no time. I work literally from 5:30 in the morning till 9 every single day of my life. My children, of course, hated me. I was a mother. I read books to them. I'm the one who taught them to read and write at home at 4 years old. I didn't send them to preschool. So when Joe and I always promise each other that the girls cannot turn against us. So if they go to me and they go like, "Can I have some sweets?" And I said no, they will go to the father, and the father will say, "What did your mother say?" It says, "Mommy says no." "Oh, so why are you coming to me?" So we do not play against each other when we're
Yeah.
raising our kids, So I think for kids, we need to be consistent. We need to we also need to give them direction. Otherwise, they wouldn't know. Where would they go? I can't even see what is it.
Nose
With
toothbrush.
Laila, even her dog nose brush the teeth. True story. That's correct. That's correct.
That's,
That's
oh
correct. So,
my God.
because yes, absolutely. So going back to your question,
Yeah.
was how tough is it is. Yeah, it is. I was very unpopular, so my children saw me as a mother change into a the man of the house, the no nonsense. And then something happened to me emotionally also. I don't cry. I don't show my children that I have sadness, because I always had to be the face.
Yeah.
It's surprising because I think about 3-4 years ago when I was in the States, we were having my birthday. They celebrated my birthday. They took me out for dinner with my sister. And then my daughter said something, and then I started to cry. And then they were like so shocked. They go like, "Oh my God, this is the first time we see you cry."
Yeah.
So I go like, how I have to be intact in order to perform, to serve you guys, to be able to get you where I want you to be, which is intact with your studies and life values. So it was tough, and my kids sometimes, like now we can have conversation like adults, but still sometimes when they step up off their boundaries, I would be like, whoa, 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 I'm still your mother. So people need to know boundaries, and my children definitely know boundaries with me.
That's good. I mean, like, I'm sure it's so tough, being the only person in the household to provide, put food on the table, then at the same time trying to teach your children life values, disciplining them is not easy. What would your advice be for single parents out there, trying to cope the early stages of being a single parent?
One is don't lose yourself. If you strip away every single role that you are, whether you are a mother, you are a daughter, you are a sister, never lose that role, because everything else is a uniform, right? And then if you can deal with the brattiness of your children, then you should be that. But if you can't stand it, then the change has to come from you and not from the outside. There will be a lot of people saying that you're doing the wrong thing. So anytime you discipline somebody or a kid, there's a lot of people like, "You can't do that, you can't do this." If you do it, if you start your life with everything with good intention, what is your intention? You won't go wrong. So it depends on what kind of parenting. I'm not here to teach people how to parent their children. But once their children are rude outside and I have to deal with them, I'm not going to bite my tongue. I'm sorry. You can put up with that shit in your house, but outside, it's free game. So this is what parents need to
You
understand.
got everyone to discipline your kids because it takes a
Correct.
village, isn't it?
Of course,
I mean, it's true. It's true.
just because you feel that you don't have to discipline, let the children feel free or whatever. If your children can maintain that in their house, fantastic. Hey, I don't care, but don't bring that around me, because I would not have to put up with that.
That's true. That is true. You do not put up with things like that. I know that for sure because if I were to do it, you would have reprimanded me. So, okay. I mean, it's just mind blowing for me that, you go through all of these stages in life. You are now, what, 53?
Yes, I'll be 53 next Friday.
Oh, someone's birthday is coming.
Yes, But
We're
my
gonna
birthday,
celebrate
no, just like
your
I told you.
journey.
No, like I told
No,
you,
I mean,
but I don't celebrate. I don't celebrate.
well, I'll celebrate it for you.
Okay,
Don't
good.
you worry about that. But it's just mind blowing for me because you're 53 years old. You look fantastic. You're an inspiration to me because when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
When
I
I
keep
grow
telling
up, I
my,
want to be just like you too.
but never grow up. No, you know, it's just difficult for me to. Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. What I mean is that it would be difficult for me if I were to be in your shoes. You know what I mean? In,
Mm.
in terms of like not only physical um tiredness, but mentally as well, because you have to cope with work, raising your kids, ensure that your household is complete and everything. How do you keep yourself sane throughout all those periods?
I don't dwell. I don't dwell on the situation. I have a goal. The goal N is a short-term goal is to put food on the table every day and pay for my school children's school fees. The further long-term goal is to put them through university. I told them I will put them, my promise to myself, not so much them, to put them through university. So that was my drive. And it was a lot of self-reflection because instead of blaming my ex, I learned to be compassionate. I learned to empathize and put myself in his shoes. That's where whatever was going on didn't really matter. And I'm sure I sound so what zen now. But I'm sure the first 2 years or 3 years, it was hell. I was screaming. I was whatever. I was angry. My children always say I have an anger problem, But I, I just I just face the day, that time, and go through it. It was very scary to look out to the next day or the next year or the next few years. So I've always been free spirited in the sense that, I deal with this today, I don't worry about tomorrow. Melayu lah, like nelayan,
Yeah.
right? The fisherman mentality, right? And I've been very, very blessed. Dana, I've been very blessed. Every time that I feel sorry for myself, God always show me other people that are unfortunate. That's why I still stay focused and counting your blessing and knowing yourself where you come from. Stay grounded. You will not go astray.
That is impressive. I mean, like, a lot of people would have difficulties in, keeping focus when they have so many things
Yeah,
jumbled up in them. But it's also, it's also an individual mindset, I would say.
yeah,
Like how you going through could be the same or different through another person,
yeah.
but also at the same journey.
But it's
So,
also but it's also, Dana, sorry, but it's also a matter
okay.
of choices. You have a choice. You are not an animal that we always look down. The animal are dumber than us. We have choices. So why don't you, instead of the 10 problems that you have that day, why don't you take priority on one first? And then after you tackle that one, take the second one. So people always like to lump it in all one basket, and then they go like, oh, it's too hard. Of course it's too hard. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. See, people do
That
not
is
want to
true.
take responsibility. People like to blame on others so they can play the victim. And I hate victims. I hate victim playing.
I can tell. Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of times before this already. I don't play victim and I hate victim. People, please remember that Laila White does not like victims. So please
Yes,
do not
right.
victimize yourself in front of her or she will cut you.
Right. Some people are due to circumstances,
Yeah.
they are stuck that way. I mean, I'm not brushing it all, but
Mm.
every single one of us have choices. We have that ability to make a choice. Whether if we don't like something about ourselves, we have that choice to change. We cannot change other people, but we can. If we can start here. Start here is the biggest. You start here. Everything else doesn't matter.
Agreed, agreed. It's always start with yourself. That's why
Right.
they told you self-love.
Right. But too much
So when
love also becomes very, very obnoxious because now you don't care about your community. So you see people still walking around, you know, without the mask and no social distancing. So there has to be a fine balance of whatever you do in life.
everything has a fine balance anyway. You have to find balance on everything that you do. Yeah, seriously, like you're such an inspiration to me. So
Oh,
whenever I think like my future, I go like, okay, what did Laila do?
oh my God.
How did Laila do it? You know, I want to be at the same level as well when I grow up, of course. Um, so when Bianca and Shavera was growing up, what's your typical Mother's Day celebration like with them?
Um, they just write me a card. So from young, this is how I raised my kids, right? I look forward in future, meaning that we celebrate our birthday, my kid's birthday. They have a choice of one thing. They can tell me what flavor of the cake, what they want to be on top of the cake pictures, and that will be their present. So the rest of the other, so the rest of the other things that I would buy, maybe one present, whatever, is a fluff. For many years, their celebration of birthday is just the cake, and it'll just be Xaviera, myself, and Bianca. And very rare, like my third sister will come because she looked after them. Like, you know, when Bianca and Xaviera were born, I do not want to clean the navel. I was so scared she will come and look after the kids. But I,
Parenting 101.
yeah. I hate that. I can't do that. But that was our birthday celebration year to year to year. And
Yeah.
and till today, the funny part is my kids, that's the way they don't see their birthday as a big deal. So they would celebrate with friends and go, oh, you know, I hate doing that. So that's instilled in them. For Mother's Day, and every time somebody gives them a gift, I make sure they have papers or Vanguard papers and make them draw and write a thank you note. And I still have all the cards. Yeah. So for me, Mother's Day, that's on birthdays, that's what they do. They will always make me cards. And that was my birthday gift or my
Oh,
Mother's Day gift.
oh wow.
Simple.
Do they still do it? I mean, now they're living in Florida, right?
Well, I don't know because last year I was there during Mother's Day. They gave me cards, yes, but this year probably, you know, virtual crap that they were just going to throw to me. And but you know what? It doesn't matter. I think
Insta story. Happy Mother's Day to my greatest mom on earth. Boom. That's it. That's my card.
no, but I think at the end of the day, it's not, you know, it's not a big deal. You know, every day I'm a mother, every day I'm a single parent. I don't take that to heart. If they remember, great. And sometimes I don't even remember my children's birthday. Like I have two, and I go like, hey, what year? Exactly, right? Hey, listen, you know, I've got a lot of things on my mind.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? My mom sometimes do that, and every time when she mixed up with my birth date, I go like, I'm adopted, 100. I don't think you gave. How can you forgot your child's birthday? You gave birth to me.
But because there's so many things, right? As parents, we've got so many roles to play and so many things to do. I mean, I've got two and I had to work and I got to deal with, you know, companies' problems, you know, and then their problems and my family's problems. And it's too much. It's too much.
Birthdays is just like, no, no. Yeah, I gave birth to you. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, my God. Say thank you. Next.
Oh, thank you. Next. Um, okay, so as a mother, right, what is your number one values, the most important value that you would like to pass down to your daughters or your children?
No, the one value is that I always emphasize: know where you come from. Know where you come from. I don't care whether when you know, in the end you are successful or whatever, but know where you come from. You come from a family, a broken family that made it through, and I have given you moral values. You don't take advantage of people. You be the person that will stick for the underdogs. I've taught my children compassion. I've taught them kindness, compassion, and politeness, but politeness has its boundaries also. Anytime that you feel somebody's taking advantage of you, you have the right to voice out and stop it. But also be smart. Where do you want, when you are using that? Because, like, for example, you know, in places like the US, it's a different game. Everybody has a gun. So whatever you say and you want to stress your point, you got to be very careful. So being strong is great, but you also have to have the smarts. So the values is, you know, they have to be kind. And one thing that I can take credit for my children, like if I've sent them to university, either they make it or they break it, that's on them. If they become homeless or whatever, that's their choice. That's not my choice. I've given them that education. But one thing that I will take pride is the way I've raised them with values. My children are the kindest people that I have met in my circle, in my home, right? And my family is that way too. But that's how I raise my children.
Yeah,
and those
true.
are the values.
Wow, good values, to be honest. So I guess you'll be spending all your time today alone again.
I love it.
You love it?
I do.
You just like me sometimes, I
Yeah.
feel. Because I like, you know, being on my own space, you know. Having a nice house is very important to do that,
Right.
to be fair. But you have a nice house. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I haven't been to the new one. I've been to the
Yes.
old one, but
Yes.
same furniture, right?
Yes, of course. You know, I don't want to spend. I try to practice buying what I need and not what I want.
Were you
Yeah.
like that before, or
I
it's
never
just that
had. Well, we never had much. There are 9 of us in my family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the last one is a boy. I tried to kill him with a pillow when he was sleeping because he was the only boy, right? Spoiled, right? When he was a child. But um, but we never
Did you
had
just
much.
confess it to an attempted murder
Yes,
on
yes, yes. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. He's still alive.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. But we never had much. And my mother was a working mother. My grandmother raised us. Little fact that many people do not know, we call our grandmother Ma, which is mother. And we call my mother by name, Mia. Her name is Alima. We call her Mia till today, which is
Oh,
strange. Yeah. So my mother was a working mother, and my grandmother raised us. And there were many times that I remember we don't have enough food, and the neighbors would come and give the leftover foods. My father was a very frugal man, and my father was a bit of a Casanova. You know, he dressed up in leather pants and all that. So he spent more money. He spent more money on himself, but he was disciplined. He put us through schools, and I admire him. And now being a single parent, I understand the great job that he did by providing us with education. So I would never had a home. I never had possessions. I was always a nomad. When growing up, I left home when I was 16 years old. I was independent, but I never had possession. You know, I now, as I turn 53, I am beginning to relearn the art of non-attachment. So things that I'm not attached to things, humans and things. I think that's the art that I'm beginning to involve in my life, and something that I'm beginning to relearn again.
that's interesting. But why though? Why are you relearning unattachment? What's the purpose?
Because I think when we put attachment to things, then there's a lot of emotions in it. Emotion can be positive and can be negative, right? I rather be how do I say? There is no feelings toward it. So if it goes away, then I will not be broken. There's no attachment to it. So that's what I mean. Like, okay, for
Right.
example, if I have a nice chair and a table, it's a nice chair and table, a nice chair. If it's broken, then okay, it's broken.
What about sentimental gift? Do you not have an attachment
I
to
do.
that?
I do
Okay.
have those. I treasure them very, very much. But now it seems that I've got too much of that. So I had to reevaluate, and I had to sit down, like I was opening. No, no, but memories are in you, right? Memories are in you. So you just sometimes need reminders. So now we have technology. I can just snapshot and put it in my phone, and I can still have it.
Yeah.
So so yeah.
True, true. That's interesting. What's the
Inshallah kalau sampai.
Alhamdulillah for you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being such an inspiration to me and to everybody else, I believe, because being going through what you're going through, I don't think is easy for anyone. But you actually proved to us, especially women, all of us, but especially women, let me rephrase that with good intentions,
Mhm.
you have a really strong mindset, and you have a really strong mindset, not but, and you have with a strong mindset, you can go through anything in this world, with any storm that pushes you through, especially during these tough times. I have to say I'm very blessed that I still have a job.
Yes,
I still
yes,
have a roof under my head. I still can put food on the table. I still can have what to others is actually a luxury. So I'm very grateful for what I have. So again, this is what you actually taught me as well through this talk. As you go through with all those hardship, and especially the first 2 years that you mentioned, you were very stressed. You scream at yourself. You have your daughter's call. You said that you have anger issues. But
mhm.
end of the day, with gratitude as well, you just feel blessed and take one day at a time. Everybody can go through any thunderstorm, I believe, any storm.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah,
make
I
sense?
think so. Yeah, of course it makes sense. I think for me, I'm very blessed that I don't break down. I don't have a nervous breakdown. I remember once it was too much, and I was going to the bank, and the maid called me, and Xavier and Bianca were fighting. So I'm screaming at, I was in a cab, I was screaming at the kids, right? And then the taxi driver said, Miss, please, don't be angry. It's not good for the children. It's not good for you. And then I was like shaking. I still remember I was shaking. And I called one of my friend, Mary. I still remember Mary. I said, please make me laugh. Please make me laugh. And she started cursing in Chinese, and I started laughing. And that was my near nervous breakdown. That was
Oh, wow.
one, yeah, that's once in my life that I
But you
nearly
say
had a
you have
nervous.
good supportive family and friends during that time.
No, I didn't tell them.
Oh,
Nobody knew.
wow.
For 2 years, nobody knew. I was still going out with my friends, and they didn't know that I was going through my late husband, my ex-husband. Turned out to be a man that I didn't know. So he became abusive. So the reason I kicked him out of my house. So my ex was a very gentle man. He's very kind, he's very compassionate, soft spoken. When he went through a manic depression, his voice turns to be loud, and he's
Okay.
very angry all the time. So when he became abusive, the first two times, I was like, of course, what can I do? Guilty, I begged him, let's work it out. By the third time it happened, I couldn't allow it. And the only reason I didn't allow it was because my children were in the house. My children heard me scream. And that day was the made of all decisions for me, where I say, this is not how I want to raise my girls to think this is love. And this is acceptable. This is not the kind of love I want my children to be exposed to. That's the day I kicked them out.
That's very strong of you. That's very brave as well. Not many women would actually do that. I mean, like, look at the domestic abuse case out there, just in Singapore alone,
Yeah.
actually behind closed curtains, and statistic is a lie. But I
Well,
know there are women out there who are now currently even living in a same household with their abuser, and I can feel them. But again, I do not know how I would be, because never happens to me. I'm still single, not married or anything. But for them to go through that, and for you to be so brave to just get away from it. It's just wow,
No, no,
amazing.
but I think that one time was too many. One time was too many. I made excuses for it, and there was no bravery in this shit, right? So you just
Yeah.
deal with it because at that moment, at that time, your decision, and you always have the right to change your mind. The second time was, was still I was a coward, right? Because I wasn't working. I was working part-time. See, monetary, even though it has no value, you cannot make monetary such a big value, but it will help you make so many decisions in your life. That's why it's important for women. I don't give a shit whether your husband is a millionaire. Go find something to do, because at the end of the day, you need your self-value. What is your self-value? It's not just the money you receive, but what you can contribute to yourself and society. By the third time he hit me, he didn't leave me a crack to crawl in to mend this relationship anymore. And I was not thinking about myself anymore. I was looking at my two poor children at that age, screaming and crying. So I can't do that to them.
Yeah.
It was not bravery. It was doing the right thing because you want a better future for your children. And this is what I mean by whatever your parents do that you don't like, you have to do better. Whatever they do better, you have to do most better, if there's a word. Much better.
True, but you're still shortchanging yourself. I still think that is brave. Again, like I know there are number of people out there who wouldn't be as brave as you would be after the third time, three strikes, that's it. Some just continue with their abuser for many, many years. So I think that's really brave, especially as a woman when you were working part-time, monetarily you would suffer, but
But if
you
you don't,
picked up,
yeah,
and
but
fight
if you
out.
don't, Dana, if you don't have a choice, what else are you gonna do? You either stay in there, because fear is an emotion that not knowing. Everybody's fearful of something because they don't know. How about you put yourself forward and address that fear and try it out? You never know. You will succeed, and even if you fail, you can try again. So I'm not saying that it's easy or whatever. I'm sure there were so many emotions that were going through me, but I did not have a choice. I was not born. If you know me, do you think I look like a battered woman? Like
No,
seriously, right? Right.
you
So
look
for
you fight back
right,
MMA style.
right.
Quite different.
Uh, for for somebody that was hit twice, that's twice too many. But I accepted because there was a guilt in me. There was something that didn't work out, and I wanted so desperately to make the marriage work. And my husband was not well. He was not well, so it's very difficult. But hey, here I am,
Yeah,
still going,
exactly.
chugging.
Exactly. Woohoo! So just so you know, mother runs her own fitness and wellness enterprise. I would call it, or company. It's called ya Allah, tengoklah lupa. Achieve.
Achieve,
Achieve.
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 Yes, achieve.
Because I
Yes,
think because what
because
I
of the
got
Q.
confused on how, yeah, because of the
That's the
Q,
Q.
yes.
Okay.
So I was like
So
wondering, how does she pronounce the company? So it's Achieve.
achieve.
Okay.
Yes, to achieve something. So it's spelled AQIEVE. QI means chi, which is CHI, which is
Yeah.
balance. So my company is
Yeah.
about balance. So I run two other companies. One is Elite Fit Private Limited, which
Yeah.
runs Kids Indoor Playground, Playtopia at our Tampines Hub. And the third company is Laila White Private Limited, which is only doing outreach programs for the community. And recently, I've joined force with Steve. We'll run Silk Road Sports. Oh my God, sports.
You
Which
also.
yeah, which deals with sports, television shows for sports. And we are the connector from the west to the east, and it's all very exciting. So yeah,
Yeah, it
new
sounds
stuff.
very exciting. Like,
Yes.
is it everything still ongoing during times like this as well?
Yes,
Oh
it
wow,
has to.
you must.
It has to. It has to. But it's all planning, right? Because
Yeah.
now, once the door is open, we're not going to just sit. Uh, yes, I choose the name. I know I gave the name. I don't remember. I've got so many things, okay? I'm not like men. They only focus on one thing. We are multitaskers. We've got a lot of stuff going on.
Kan mak dah
So,
marah.
kan dah geram aku. Kau
Kan?
hajar punya orang putih, nak kena tengil dengan lada. No, but yeah, it's still going, but we are not sitting still. We are all prepared. We are launching all traditional games. We are doing a lot of, I'm going to start our own module called A Day at a Time, which is Adat. We are teaching
Oh, yeah.
kids moral values like be kind, be something I can't remember. Be caring and be leader. So those are in works that we are going to launch in Playtopia. We want to teach kids the values where they can be upstanding human beings in the community.
Wow. A lot of projects in your hands. And not to mention, you're also a TV host for Life by Laila.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. That
Thank
seems
you.
going well. Would there be a season 2?
Yes, we are working on season 2, definitely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, I will probably. I was once in that situation. Oh, thank you, Nana.
Oh, Nana.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Glad that you gave this story to a lot of people.
well,
Yeah.
I
So
hope I
Life by
could.
Laila, season 2.
Yes, so season 2. So season 2, I am looking at Indonesia again because it's huge, and then season 3 probably in other Southeast Asia. We've been very blessed. I've been very blessed because I learned so much from talking to people, and I uplift all the spirit of the Asian values and Asian tradition and custom. We've got so much to offer, and we need to claim it, and we need to show the West that, oh, hello, Kitty. I British pula aku. Hello, Kitty.
She's British short hair anyway, so she probably
Is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, the TV show is in the works, and hopefully I will be launching another segment of series which I've just started. It's called Forever Fit and Fabulous. It's for people that are 40 and above. And then Steve and I are working on a kids football raising stars to see talents of kids. And we are in the talks of big clubs working with big clubs in the West. So cannot, talk too much about that. It was a great experience, and we were rated #1 in Indonesia. And now we are selling the show. I've got interest in Croatia. I've got interest in Australia and in Spain. So,
oh, nice.
yeah, and Eva
Look
Airlines.
at you,
Yeah.
the boss.
No, but I think my intention was to raise pride in Asia and Asians. And you can see it through the show because the show was not, even though it's called Life by Laila, it's not about my life. It's the journey that I go through. Oh, thank you, Leah. It's the journey that I go through, and through that I learn. And through me learning, I hope to impart to the people that watches it.
Oh, that's nice. So season 2 will be in Indonesia, and I'm just wondering, it just got into on top of my head. Do you need a co-star?
Inshallah, who knows? You never know, right? You can never say no to anything. As you can see,
I think it's gonna be like live with Dana and Laila, or with Laila and Dana. It will us be arguing all the time on the camera.
apa kau buat ni?
Ya,
apa kau buat ni? Dah betul.
dah tak betul. Aku pelempang kau tahu.
Kau dah gila eh? Dah gila eh?
Sekejap
Yes, that's the kind of reality TV show.
Yeah, we're probably going to catch up with the Kardashian.
Probably.
That would be funny. Seriously, that would be hilarious. The Asian version, but unrelated.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking your time and saying yes to see my face.
Thank you.
Although virtually, and thank you so much for sharing with us. I really appreciate it, and I've learned a lot for sure.
Oh, most welcome. So before I end this is only one thing that I want to remind people. Two things. One is the COVID, right? I know it's hard, but if everybody follows the rule by washing their hands, which is supposed to be second nature anyways, make bubbles with soap, right? And then 2 is social distancing. like this, kuku ni
Like
semua,
this.
okay? Okay, jangan jadi
Mak dah
bodoh.
ajar Jangan
Kuku.
cakap mak tak ajar.
Itulah. Then wash your hands with, make sure you mix bubbles, right? And then social distancing. Social distancing also, remember, there's also personal space. So learn, don't talk to people until I can take your saliva in my mouth. I hate that. Okay, that's true.
Tapi kalau orang nak French kiss macam mana?
Itu lain lah, itu cerita
Oh,
lain.
tu lain.
Ini kalau nak berbual dia, aku nak sepak aje. So the third thing is stay home. Stay home. Because you're not only saving your family's life, but other people's life. We are all connected globally. Your money that you need is connected with the people that is going to come in here. So be sane and be safe, be strong. The other thing is that women, I urge you, please, if nothing you hear, please find something to do. Please get out. Whether it's at McDonald's, sweeping the floor, no job is beneath you. You need to go and grow yourself, the intact of who you are. Because when things around you falls apart, you can rely on that thing, which is you. Amazing, because I tagged DIY on LinkedIn on a post of my daughter graduated, the second one graduated. It became a trending, right? Because I said, do it yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Don't rely on everybody else. If they come and help you, be thankful. That's a plus, but it's not your entire entity. On that note, Dana, thank you so much. I talked so much.
You're welcome. I just want to add in for women as well, upgrade yourself whenever you can.
True. I agree. I totally agree.
It is so important, especially during this day and age where everything is moving so fast. You just have to keep up with what is in trend, what is in the market, what is actually more important to learn. So you know what? I took out a course while on this.
Good.
Yeah.
What course is that?
Digital marketing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
See?
I've been that's why I've been quite busy this week. I was trying to learn and then doing my assignment at the same time.
Yeah, see how privileged are we, right? We are
exactly.
At a country that there's at the fingertip. You can learn a lot of things instead of using it for useless information. Upgrade yourself.
And on TikTok.
Knowledge is power, my darling. Knowledge is power.
I know. I'm just saying, if you have time for TikTok, you have time to do everything else.
Yeah. It's tiring. Yeah? Social media is tiring. It's great, but it's also tiring.
It is for sure. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate. We shall let you go. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Namaste.
And I hope to see you after this circuit breaker ends. Finally. Hopefully.
Soon.
Inshallah.
It will be. Thank you so much, Dana.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.